Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Folks, let's talk about ancestor worship or praying to ancestors or belief in ancestors. I don't know what your personal feeling is, but with me, it doesn't really sit well with me. Reason being, you don't really know who your ancestors were, right? Obviously, you weren't alive when they were alive. You didn't know them personally, you didn't grow up with them. You don't know whether these people were cannibals. You don't know whether they were involved in child sacrifice. You don't know whether they were involved in child rape, whether they themselves were rapists or child abusers or homosexuals or whatever. You understand? You don't know the real story of your ancestors because you weren't there. You didn't grow up with them. You know, what we have are accounts that were handed down that, oh, yes, your great grandmother was good, generally speaking, or, oh, she was a good person. She used to raise children and did good in the community and feed the hungry and clothe the poor and whatever. But most of us living today don't have first-hand accounts. Like we can't speak to a grandmother or a great-grandmother who can report directly on their ancestors. And even they themselves weren't raised with these people. If you're going to talk about ancestor praising or ancestor worship or asking for ancestors for blessings or asking them for their protection over your children or whatever, does it really make sense? I'm talking about people in the past, way before colonization, way before the slave trade. Those ancestors, good and fine, we understand that, there's this whole back to black, back to Africa, back to who we were before the white man came movement, right? Those people in the ancient times before the white man set foot on our soil had a certain belief system where, yes, they believed in one God and they believed in demigods underneath that. And they prayed to different idols and what have you. They might have known the authentic 100% so-called religion that they were following, belief system that they were following. But that has obviously gotten diluted, right? And messed up over the years since colonization, since the slave trade, etc. So how are you really sure when you're praying to your ancestors and asking for guidance and protection and direction that those were good people and that they're going to give you good things? It's been proven a lot that these days, when I say these days, I'm talking about in the upper 3 generations. So your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother. Okay, let's only go that far. A lot of them who went to all these shrines, these ancestral shrines and what have you, and took your name there, right? And be like, oh, protect my grandchild, protect my great-grandchild, make them be a great person in the village, let them succeed in life, blah, blah, blah. Those things, because they weren't done properly, because the prayers weren't done properly and correctly, those things turn out to be the opposite and start affecting those grandchildren, those great-grandchildren today. They turn out to be thieves and rapists and whoremongers and what have you. So is it really right to speak to or ask for protection from ancestors that you yourself didn't know? With me, it doesn't sit well with me. I'm not going to lie to you. And you might think, oh, well, it's because your religion has been diluted and you're all of a sudden all this Christian and you don't believe it and you've been told that your people were bad and your ancestors were bad. And it's not necessarily that, because I've come into my truth. I know who I am as a Black Hebrew Israelite. So I don't believe in that at all. Yes, I believe in a lot of our culture. A lot of the things that we propagate are good, as in looking after the earth, looking after each other, having a sense of community and stuff like that. But actually going to a shrine and bowing down and praying and asking people I didn't know for their protection, no. Only Yeshua HaMashiach can protect me and my children and my grandchildren and their grandchildren. When it comes to, oh, well, if it was Vodun, then you would believe it. But what spirits are you really inviting in? Isn't this part of why Yahuwah punished us back in the old days? I'm talking about as an Israelite. It was all the idol worship, the ancestor worship, the praying to demigods, the belittling of him, the disregard of the Most High. And that is why we fell under the curses that we are suffering today. So I think we really need to be very careful in this whole back to Africa, back to our roots movement. when we say that, oh, let's go back to our ancestors because our ancestors were there long before the white man came. Those ancestors that you're running back to, were they good people? Were you there? Do you know what they did to invoke the wrath of the Most High? But you're running back to them. Don't do things blindly. You can only research so far. This I understand. You can only go back 2 or 3 generations. You can't go back all the way back to the beginning to know whether what our people was doing was true and right and correct. So don't just rush to go back. If you've come into the truth of who you are as a black Hebrew Israelite, as a woke African, and you're trying to find the right path and the right way, just go straight to the Most High and leave all this ancestor stuff. It's not good for you, I'm telling you. Instead of getting blessings that you are seeking, you're getting curses because you're still going against what the Most High taught you, what He asked for you to do. Submit to Him only, and your path shall be made straight. My take on things. All right, y'all. Be good or be good at it. Bye for now.